Hi guys. Okay, so this video is about the rising signs and how they will be affected by the full moon eclipse that will be on Friday, July 27th. Okay, so this is for Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio rising signs. All right, not sun signs, rising signs. I made sure to insert this idea. The same thing of what I'm going to tell you guys in this video is that understand this main factor is that depending, I'm going to give you guys an example in this video as well, depending on where your actual rising sign starts in your birth chart heavily affects where this moon actually affects, okay? So I'm giving you a look at what the chart looks like for the moon. This is not a person, so it looks a little bit different than a person. With a person, there'll be 12 triangles as well. It'll tell you all 12 houses. With this moon specifically, the rising sign is probably around Aries, but it depends on where it starts in your chart, because it could start all the way up here and then you have Aries still in your first house, and then you have Aries all through your first house, and then you would have Taurus in your second. However, it could also start all the way down here, causing Taurus to be mostly in your first house, and then your second house could be Gemini. So it all depends on how everything is situated, and because of that, it's really important to actually count 4 degrees, which is where the moon will be, 4 degrees of Aquarius, which is over here. So you want to count 4 degrees within the brackets of where Aquarius is, not the individual triangles like within a person's chart, okay, like a human being, but 4 degrees over, because that's where the moon is. You want to count 4 degrees into Aquarius, and it'll tell you based off of whatever triangle it is what house this applies to, okay? These are the general ones based off of if your houses are aligned, but this also applies to anybody. So if, let's say, you know, if it's, I'm gonna go over Leo is in the 7th house, but however, if your chart is in the 6th house, what I'm saying about the 6th house will still apply to you personally, okay? So keep in mind that. So let's start with Leo. So Leo is actually going to be in the 7th house. Again, this is your rising sign. 7th house, if you do have the full moon that's going to be in your 7th house, what this is karmic endings that have to do with partnerships, relationships, law. So this can be in court. This could be justice of some sort, okay? This could be a marriage, any kind of relationship from one person to the other. Or again, I say law because 7th house is ruled by Libra, which Libra stands for justice and balance, okay? So that's where those areas of life are. So this full moon can cause completions with a relationship. This full moon could bring about fear within a relationship. This full moon could bring about maybe you come to a resolution in a marriage, or maybe you need to get a divorce and this is the karmic ending. Again, this is all examples of metaphorical things that stand for an idea in your life that you need to let go of, right? Because this is the matrix. So we're going through these things, but these are physical things that all tie to a personal meaning of some sort. So keep that in mind, that if you are ending something that is within a relationship, you have to ask yourself, what exactly does this relationship stand for me? Because ultimately you're giving a karmic ending. You're ending something in that relationship, and something is going with it that's from your past, that's so deep in your past that it's all the way within the subconscious because it's karmic, okay? So that's the Leo. Virgo is 6th house, all right? Virgo is actually, yeah, crazy but surely. So Virgo is in 6th house. It's interesting because Virgo actually rules 6th house, so this is a comfortable area for Virgos to be in, Virgo risings, you know. So this is their area of health, all right? So it's going to be actually working on your health, working on your day-to-day, working on obstacles, competitive enemies. This is also household pets as well, 6th house. So there's going to be some kind of karmic ending within one of those areas. It could be an unfortunate death of a household pet, which that's terrible to say, but again, I'm being as real as possible with you guys. It could also be an ending to, since the 2nd house, the 6th house, and the 10th house have altogether really have to do with the career, it could be a new beginning in your career because now you're ending a job that you don't need to necessarily be at. Maybe it's an unhealthy job. It's not helping you because, again, day to day, right? Day-to-day obstacles, day-to-day health. It's really important to understand that day-to-day and health are all in the same house. And that's really major because that's trying to say on a day-to-day, what are you doing that is going to advance your health or going to deny your health, right? So that's really important to understand. And ultimately what it's saying is if you have, you know, the eclipse here, it's possibly saying let's end this because realistically in order for your health to be good, you got to break apart from this. This is not good energy. So let it go, let it be, and get rid of it. So that's pretty much what that is. Also competitive energies. It could be something as like, let's say there's competition at your job and you're winning something, or the competition is over and, you know, it's possible that now this competitive energy that's around is over with. It's done. So that could be that. Obstacles, right? I have what's called Chiron in the 6th house. It is the most terrible placement ever. It makes me like late for everything, or like trying to get somewhere and it just, for some reason, like reality, it just doesn't click with my brain as far as getting to places. So like I can try my hardest, but it's terrible. But I had the full moon in this area. It's possible that something could happen to where, since this is a karmic placement, right? I'm getting Chiron there. It's a wounded healer. That's what Chiron means for all those that don't know what Chiron is. Look out for that video. I actually have to edit it. But maybe, you know, that might mean, all right, well, maybe this is time that I can end something karmically, end that issue, so that way I can evolve on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so that's basically what will happen as far as Virgo risings are concerned. So now we have Libra as the 5th house. Okay, so Libra risings, 5th house is all about creativity. It's about romance. It is also about children. It is about casual sex. Yes, it's odd for those all three to be all in the same area. But it takes romance and it takes sex to have children. It is the creative house. It is the fun house. It's the house of creation. So it makes sense when it comes to that. It is the house of also artistic expression. It is the house of self-expression because it is ruled by Leo originally, the 5th house. So anybody that's having a karmic ending in these areas, it's really going to affect that area of your life. You might have a karmic ending in a show that you're doing. Maybe you're doing something artistically and there's some kind of karmic ending that ties with that. It could be children. It could be the idea of maybe there's an ending for you to be able to birth children, or maybe, you know, it's the ending of a childhood. Maybe they're growing into an adult, and you know, that might sound like, oh my god, that's not that big of a deal, but for a parent that is a big deal, and maybe they're not ready for their child to, you know, turn into an adult. That's heavy. Also, this is past, present, and future. So this is children of yours, but this is also your childhood. There could be a karmic ending and disconnection from something that happened within your childhood that you need to disconnect in order for you to go in a positive light on an advanced level, right? So you have to cut that and you have to let that bygones be bygones and let that go. So that also has to do with that too. For those of you that have Pluto, natal Pluto in, like if you, when I say natal, I mean like if you have Pluto in your birth chart in your 5th house, and there, let's say that you have a Libra ascendant. Yeah, we're talking about Libra. So let's say you have a Libra ascendant and you also have Pluto in that house. This could be that very well, that karmic ending, because Pluto is Scorpio, and Scorpio is the karmic sign for Ketu. Okay, so if you guys are confused by what I'm saying, go to the introduction video. It explains exactly what Ketu is. It explains why this eclipse is one of the most heaviest moments of, you know, all of us, because it's the strongest in 120 years. All right, and it's tied to Ketu. It's tied to that past life. So because of that, if you have, let's say, Pluto in the 5th house, and you know, you have the moon that's right next to it, it's definitely going to affect the fact that maybe you need to cut ties with what happened in your childhood, because Pluto in the 5th house also represents that you might carry that out to your own children. So maybe it's necessary for you to cut that in half, let go of that, so you could be the proper parent that you need to be. All right, so that's major. Let's think. It's also speculated business, 5th house. Ooh. Sorry, now I'm spinning into the camera. It's also speculated business, so there might be some areas of growth here, because maybe you have to cut ties of something that has to do, when I say speculated business, I mean somebody that's a freelancer, someone who owns their own business, someone who And when I say owns your own business, it doesn't also have to be like, you can own your own business and it's corporate, but speculative business is basically like a business that's not guaranteed to always make money, but it's like a risk-taking business. So it could be you're a makeup artist, it could be you're a hairstylist, it could be you gamble for professional life, because that's another thing too. Fifth house is gambling, so that's major too. You might have an ending when it comes to that, or maybe there's a karmic ending where you lose a lot of money. It could be something like that. Speculated business also has to do with any kind of risk-taking. It could also be like psychology in a sense, because even though 8th house covers psychology, 5th house with speculative business has to do with, now it depends on how many clients you are getting. Okay, so you can work in a corporate environment, yes, but you're also gaining clients and also losing clients sometimes. So that's considered to be a speculative business as well. Or an idea that you may not even be right all the time. That speculative business is the fact that people are coming to you, they're risk-taking, but you might not always be right about what you're doing, but it's the risk that's involved, okay? So that's that 5th house. So there's some karmic ending in that area of your life. Again, creativity is also 5th house, so it could have to do with being creative as far as with work, with play, with anything. Typically more so play, but if you are somebody that is in creative field for work, that could apply to that as well. All right, so the last one for this video, and then I'm going to switch off and go into the next video as well so it's not dragged out, is Scorpio. So Scorpio is 4th house, okay? Scorpio rising will be in the 4th house, will be affected. 4th house is family, not necessarily always family members, because your family members are also like switched into different areas, because you have like your younger siblings are in the 3rd house, you have your father in the 10th house, your mom is actually the 4th house, and then you also have your elder siblings in the 11th house. But this has to do more so with your overall family home, okay? Another thing is it has to do with your mother. So this could be something that is a karmic ending that is tied to the mother. I hate to be somebody that you would say something like this, but it is very well true. There could be a karmic ending with the mother where something could happen, and I would hope that's not the case, but there's a karmic ending to it, okay? Maybe there's something that's going with her in the situation, or maybe something dies within your mother. Maybe there's a fear that passes, you know, goes on, and it trickles down. So maybe that's something that you can find relief in and release in. Maybe there's an area in her life that she is now being honest with, and so that's also giving you some understanding to your own life, or understanding to what has happened in your childhood or what has happened in your home. Past, present, future. If you are a mom yourself, this has to do with you as well. So this could be something in that area that is a karmic ending that is causing your motherhood to be able to elevate, because you are letting go of something on a powerful level that is karmic energy, that is deep down in the subconscious. You're letting it go, and it's causing you to say, okay, I'm ready to advance. All right, so that's that mother. Mother also ties in with the mind, because the moon is the mind, and the moon is Cancer, right? And Cancer rules the 4th house traditionally. So even though you might have your moon here, and it might be in Aquarius, because that's exactly what would happen if it was in this situation, since the moon is in Aquarius at 4 degrees. So if moon is in Aquarius at 4 degrees in your 4th house, it still heavily ties to emotion for you. What's in your mind, okay? So this is also gonna, even though we're already going through all the feels right now, and it's an emotional change for us, it's a major thing to understand that you might be feeling it way harder, because now it's tapping into your emotion. Actually, I have someone very, very, very close to me, okay, who has this placement where he has his moon in, he's a Scorpio rising, and he has his moon in the 4th house in Aquarius. And he called me up at like 3 o'clock in the morning last week and was like so done with everything. Like, was just like, not even, I don't even want to say he was done with everything, because it wasn't, it was actually a very enlightening conversation, but he was going through the feels, and he was like, oh my God, like, I'm dealing with this, and like, these people are giving me all these compliments, and I'm not used to this, and I don't know, and he's so emotional about it, and like, it's totally understandable, because again, it has to do with the fact that now they have the moon right, being affected by the eclipse. But then on top of it, they also have to deal with the fact that it's in their house that's ruled by Cancer. So that's so major, you know, it's the mind already naturally. Now you're going deeper into the mind. So that has to do with that too. Your own home. What you consider to be home, okay? This is your origin. This is, maybe there's a full moon that has to do with understanding where you actually came from, okay? Because it's the origin, it's your family roots, it's where you come from. This is like the main, this is all the way down to the T. You know, where am I from? Maybe you finally come to an understanding about, let's say, you got some information back from your family lineage, or you reached out to a distant cousin and someone actually decided to reach back out to you. It could be something like that. It's the ending of that search. So that has to do with that too. So it's your emotional needs is all in the 4th house. The home is in the 4th house. Maybe there's an ending to construction in the home, and it means something karmically for you. Maybe like this was something you were waiting on. This is something that you saw as liberation, as freedom, because again, this is that energy of the eclipse is about freedom. It's liberation towards something that has been holding on to you so you can get to where you need to go. All right, so that's all 4th house. Now I'm going to stop the video and go to the next one, but I did want to answer a question that someone asked me. Are there ways to channel the vibes financially well? Absolutely, there's ways to channel the vibe financially well. You have to look at your own personal birth chart to see that. Now, again, I want to tell you guys, like, this is really more so about cutting off things that you don't necessarily need. So, like, there are other energies that you can channel energy for that will help you financially, but I would more so say take this energy and utilize it for whatever it's there for, okay? Financially well, when I think financial, I mean worth in my head, because for me, I feel like money comes. I'm not really obsessed when it comes to like the idea of money itself, because for me, value is more important. If you have value in something, then the money will come. If you just keep making money but there's no value in it, eventually the money won't come anymore, because the money started from the value of the idea behind that money being able to be made. So that in itself, I think this really heavily will affect anything going on in your life, including your financial stability, because if you're not right on a mental level, how are you really going to be able to generate, you know, anything that you need for your resources to be able to go forward? And that's really what this is all about. It's about being able to cut ties to things that are in the way for you to be able to go forward. So if that's the best answer I could offer, because ultimately you want to focus on your value right now. Okay. So that's for those. And now for the next video, so sign into that, I'm going to come right back on, and it's going to be for Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay, guys?